Get ready to be audited. That's what politicians in the U.S. are telling high-income and high-net-worth individuals because you nasty jerks have gotten away with it for far too long. The headline from Bloomberg Tax is IRS's Werfel to prioritize high-income audits and taxpayer service. Now, this was initially talked about back when Danny Werfel was a nominee to be the IRS Commissioner. He is the IRS Commissioner. And basically what he said is enforcement efforts against high-income taxpayers, that's his number one concern. And then right up there, number two, let's call it, is improving customer service. Most people probably don't put IRS and customer service in the same sentence. I suppose if beating California's franchise tax board is a priority, they are doing well. But the entire idea behind his confirmation hearing and what now the IRS is making its policy is that they are committing to meet a directive sent by Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen that audits on taxpayers making $400,000 a year or more, which is Joe Biden's level, at which if you're above it, you're a nasty, disgusting pig who needs to suffer, and below it, you're a good, normal, tax-paying, rah-rah American. That's the level, $400,000. Don't go above that or we hate you. And so he said, okay, we want to boost audit rates above that level because they are historically low. I don't have a particular comment on audit policy, but I do have a comment on this. We have seen historically, and I've been telling you for years now, the Western world is becoming more and more anti-wealth. We shared with you a quote recently from Thomas Sowell, who said, "I'm so old that I remember when people's achievements were considered to be an inspiration rather than a grievance." Now, let me be very clear. I am the goody two-shoes of the offshore business. In my old age, as I'm aging and I'm becoming more and more pragmatic, I understand, listen, you live in the United States. The United States has high taxes. If you don't like it, you can do as I did. You can leave. You can go where you're treated best. There's plenty of places that would love to have you. Get a residence permit, get a second passport, set up your company, move your banking. You'll probably be better off. If you want to live in the United States, you got to deal with the IRS. If you're going to be a U.S. citizen, you have to deal to some extent with the IRS because they do tax you subject to exclusions and all kinds of other things you can do, no matter where you live in the world. So, okay, you make money, you're successful, pay. All right, fine. Let's just start from there. The problem is that people's achievements are considered a grievance now, and so when you start from that root, and you take it out, you start to see more and more young people, and the younger you go, the higher the numbers go, saying, you know what, we want socialism. Socialism defined, they literally say, as give us free stuff. We don't think we should pay for it, you should pay for it. Then you create a system where politicians respond to that, or politicians get elected who believe that, and then politicians like Elizabeth Warren say that basically if you are wealthy, you're a cheat. That is the belief. That is who is, in many ways, in charge of the United States and other Western countries now. You couldn't have gotten where you've gotten without being a cheat. And you see that more and more being the zeitgeist where everyone who's successful trampled on someone. Everyone who made money took advantage of other people. They stole people's labor. They did a number on them. And then you elect politicians that parrot that back because that's what the population wants to hear. Now, do you think living in a country with a population like that is going to be good for your business or bad for your business? Good for your wealth or bad for your wealth? So I'm not going to say that people who make more money should or shouldn't be audited. I'm not an expert on audit policy. And it does seem like the numbers have been going down over the years. How about the U.S. credit system like Estonia has, where you file your taxes in the back of a postcard? Now, obviously, some people who are high earners, they've got very complicated systems, and maybe it's not quite that easy. But the system in some of these Western countries is rather archaic. I mean, there's people still sending paper tax returns, last I heard, into the United States, into the IRS. Maybe we should modernize things. And perhaps that's on his list. You hear IRS modernization, and yet in these big countries, things move at the pace of a snail. But again, I go back to the root cause. The number one priority now is if you make money, we're coming after you and we're going to audit you. Now, if you're clean, I guess you waste a bunch of time. Time is money, opportunity cost. You should be fine. So I'm not trying to side with anybody who's doing anything unethical. But I want you to not look at symptoms, but look at root causes. Root cause is people just don't like the capitalist system anymore. They protest that, right? One thing I know is that society largely functions on white lies. People don't want to tell, if you live in the United States, you're not supposed to just absolutely say capitalism is terrible. There are more and more people who are saying it, but the average person is like, no, we're not against capitalism. We're just opposed to these. And then it's like a friend of mine who, anytime you mention a rich person or a billionaire or someone, that he's like, oh, I don't like that guy. I don't like that guy. That guy's arrogant. Eventually, I'm like, dude, you just don't like any rich people. you just have disdain for all of them. And of course, he thinks he doesn't, but that is representative of what a growing number of people feel. And so, what do you think you get when these people vote? You get politicians that nominate people who run the tax agency who say, yeah, you know what? If you make a lot of money, you're probably the problem. Because in my world, I do believe you need ethics in capitalism. I do think people should be honorable. I don't think that ethics and honor are a function of your income. And I don't think that just because the government can get more money out of people that they should only go after those folks. I get it, the IRS job is to collect money. In the same way that, you maybe stop the guy who's jumping over the subway toll in the thought of, well, maybe if we let him get away with that, he'll commit some more serious crimes later. Why don't we stop everybody from doing that? And again, why don't you try and modernize your government? And so I look at this and say, you know what? Here's what I did do. Not my circus, not my monkeys. I want to go to a place where either the tax code is very easy to follow, very straightforward, it's easy to file, the system is straightforward, and or a place where there's not much, if anything, to pay. And so the idea that any of us are going to fix the U.S. government, that we're going to change U.S. culture, that we're going to change the direction in which that culture is heading, that we're going to change these politicians by, if my one vote, we're going to get rid of this Biden and it'll all be solved. Come on. This once again shows that if you value wealth, if you value economic freedom, if you value growing your business, by the way, it's not just about tax. Do you think that all the people who are working for you, who say, yeah, you're probably a jerk because you're rich, or yeah, sock it to him, you think they're going to be the employees that are going to take your business to the top? There's more and more of this. And I believe that it's another reason to say, hey, even if I'm not going to make a move now, maybe I set up a company somewhere else and hire a few people. Maybe that doesn't save me any money in tax, and in fact, it'll make me file an extra tax form because Americans do need to file foreign corporations, foreign trusts, foreign bank accounts. Those all have to be reported. If you have a good kind of tax professional like the way we have in our network, it won't really cost you much, if anything more. But maybe you set something up in another country where, okay, I'm going to hire a few people. I'm going to use that country's corporation. I'm going to open up a bank account there, and I'm going to see how I feel about it. And if it's easier, and if it feels better, maybe over time I'll move all my stuff there. Maybe over time I will move to that country, or I'll move somewhere else and I'll have my business in that country, right? It doesn't always have to be in the same place. Your business could be in a free zone in the UAE, and you could be living in Italy and taking part in the lump sum tax program. You don't have to say my business is in the UAE, so I'm going to be in the UAE. You pick where's the best place for your business, where's the best place to hire, where's the best place to bank, where's the best place to live, and then how does it all work together? And if you're an American, it does become a bit more complicated, but that's what Nomad Capitalist does. We help people build a suite of experts and execute plans, whether it's you're just starting off small or whether you're going all the way from the beginning to reduce your taxes, take more control of your money, and put yourself in a cultural environment where people want you to succeed and they're rooting for you to succeed. And I know that so many people are living in the West right now and saying, it doesn't exist. Believe me, I spend my time traveling the world and really these days living in different places where it still does exist much more than it does where you live. And so this is just the latest in almost daily examples of how the Western world going in the wrong direction, economic freedom goes in the wrong direction, the numbers are quantitatively worse. And on a qualitative level, you look outside and you see. Why is it because you're rich, you're a target? Well, because they say so. You're not going to change that. You do have the ability to go where you're treated best. Nomad Capitalist can help. It's something everyone successful should have on their mind.